I just thought I would take a few minutes and say why the 1.4 really has its place in a Mark 1, 2, or 3. And I think it's important for me to outline that. There are quite a few factors. Number one factor is the power it has. When it is tuned and chipped, we should get in the 200 horsepower range and in the 275 plus torque. And that torque is available, if I'm not mistaken, around 1250 RPMs. So it's a monster of torque in those bodies, like the 1, 2, and 3s. It's amazing. And it's a street-friendly engine. It's not what I would call a race application engine where you need to have the RPMs high. So this one here with the smaller turbo, which is stock, it should be able to boost up all the way up to 55, 5700 RPMs before it starts to get a bit breathed out. But for a street application, there's nothing better. And even talking to some of our dealers out in California, they are working on an endurance type car, and that really suits that need. If you're talking about a time attack car with a stock turbo, I don't personally think it suits that application. It doesn't mean you can't do it, but this is like a perfect everyday solution with some guts. Also, when we're talking a bit further than power, lightweight, the block is aluminum. So if you take that compared to a cast iron block, you're talking about 80 pounds less in the front. For those cars, it's a lot. So you've got power, you've got weight. Then next point, reliability. These engines are bulletproof. We have friends that work in dealers and these don't have any problems inherent to them. They might have the problem here and there, but they are really a bulletproof engine. If you have the chance and go on YouTube and look it up, look how the cams are installed in that engine. You'll be amazed. They don't have any cam caps. The top part of the head is the valve cover and the cams are integral to that. It just blows my mind. Anyways, let me go on further. So power, reliability. Next one, mileage. We've seen those easily get over 50 miles per gallon. When it comes to our rest of the world people, 5 liters per 100. That's amazing. The other great thing about this engine is the intercooler is water to air, which is one of the most efficient way of getting an intercooler for the intake air. It's 2 parallel circuits, which is a lot easier to place and route with the water to air intercooler for a small rad and maybe a little expansion tank on the side. Because stock, they use the same coolant and overflow tank as the engine coolant. And the delta is not that much of a difference. So in order to increase performance, having that separate really helps out on the IATs. I guess the only part that's not good is how this looks, because every engine that is out there now has those beautiful plastic intakes and it's not the prettiest one of them all. So that being said, this is why we think the 1.4 is really the best swap you can put in a Mark 1.